Yes. Okay. How's that? Okay. Yeah, got it. All right. Yeah. Good evening. This meeting of the Swatara Township Zoning Hearing Board is called to order. The municipality's planning code provides that zoning hearing boards have the exclusive jurisdiction to hear requests for special exceptions and variances from zoning ordinance requirements, as well as other types of zoning appeals. The board gathers facts at a public hearing by taking testimony from the affected parties and is charged with the legal responsibility of deciding whether to approve or disapprove applications and appeals, such as those arising from the determination of the zoning officer. The board will consider all relevant facts regarding the application, as well as evaluate its impact on the overall health and welfare of the community. In addition, the board may attach reasonable conditions and safeguards in connection with allowing special exceptions and variances that it may deem necessary to implement the purposes of the MPC and the zoning ordinance. The board considers only testimony taken during the hearing and given under oath. The board is an interpretive quasi-judicial panel. A stenographic record of this proceeding is being made in order for the courts to have available a complete and accurate journal in the event of an appeal. The board does not make the zoning ordinance and revisions to it. Revisions to it and the ordinance itself are prepared by the Planning Commission and adopted by the elected governing body after it has held a public hearing. While the formal rules of evidence do not apply, we follow some basic legal proceedings in our hearings in order that the pertinent facts can be presented in an orderly and reasonable fashion by, among others, the applicant and the zoning officer. Any interested party may appear at the hearing to ask questions of witnesses regarding the details of the application and to make any comment appropriate to the matter being heard. Nonetheless, we try to be as informal as possible. Decisions on applications and appeals are made by the board at a public meeting. Subsequent to the conclusion of the hearing, no further discussion by the applicant or other parties is allowed. The board has by law 45 days in which to render its decision on an application. Typically, however, oral decisions are made at the meeting at which the hearing was conducted. The zoning hearing board consists of 3 citizens of Swatara Township, all of whom are appointed by the Swatara Township Board of Commissioners. Additionally, an alternate member to the board has been appointed by the township's governing body. The chairman of the zoning hearing board, at his discretion, may designate the alternate member of the board to replace any absent or disqualified member. Moreover, if, due to the absence or disqualification of a member, the board is unable to achieve a quorum, the chairperson shall designate the alternate member to serve as a voting member of the zoning hearing board for a particular case. The board exercises its right to employ legal counsel to advise it during the hearing. Linus Fennicle is solicitor to the board. Mr. Fennicle is seated to my immediate left. At this point, I would like to introduce the members of the zoning hearing board. Member George Malakovic is seated to my right. Member Betsy Taylor is seated to the left of Solicitor Fennicle. My name is Philip Baer. I serve as both a member of the zoning hearing board as well as its chairman. Stenographic services are provided by Sergeant's Court Reporting Services, Inc. Finally, I wish to introduce the Township Zoning Officer, Zachary Golden, who is seated at the table to my right. Mr. Golden will represent the township as a party in this hearing, give a factual statement of the application, offer opinions regarding the case, and respond to questions as needed from the applicant and the objector and the zoning hearing board. However, I would like to point out that neither Mr. Fennicle nor Mr. Golden nor the stenographer is part of the board. The first item on our agenda this evening is to hear an application for certain variances by CJE Properties, LLC, for property located along the south side of Highland Street, identified as 1750 Highland Street. The property is located in the CG General Commercial Zoning District. The applicant intends to develop the property for use as a retail store in accordance with a land development plan for Harbor House Crabs. The parcel number of the property is 63-062-003. Claudia N. Shank submitted the application on behalf of CJE Properties, LLC, owner and applicant of the subject property, on or around Friday, October 3rd, 2025. The applicant seeks certain variances as follows. 1, a variance from section 295-29A, attachment 2 of the Township zoning ordinance, to permit building 2 to be located within the required 50-foot front yard setback. 2, a variance from section 295-29A, attachment 2, note A, of the zoning ordinance to permit building 2 to be located within the 50-foot rear yard setback. A variance from section 295-36C of the zoning ordinance to permit building 2 to be located within the required 50-foot buffer from the bank of the unnamed tributary. 4, a variance from section 295-123D1 of the zoning ordinance to permit use and development of lot 2 without a 30-foot wide buffer yard with plant screening along its eastern boundary with lot 1. 5, a variance from section 295-123D1 of the zoning ordinance to permit the development of lot 2 without a 30-foot wide buffer yard with plant screening along its southwestern boundary with the township property. In conformance with the MPC, the township, as required, provided public notice of the hearing. This was accomplished by publishing a public notice in the Patriot News on 2 occasions prior to the public meeting. Such public notice of the hearing was advertised in the Patriot News on Sunday, October 12th, 2025, and on Sunday, October 19th, 2025. In addition, notice of said hearing was posted on the affected property on Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. Moreover, all nearby property owners were notified by first-class mail on Friday, October 10th, 2025. The Township Planning Commission and the governing body were notified on Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. Notice of the meeting was also posted in the lobby of the Township Administration Building on Wednesday, October 8th, 2025. Is there anyone present to set forth the applicant's case? Gentlemen? Okay, kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you. Peter Wirtz with McNeese, Wallace & Merritt.
Okay, fine, appreciate that. And do you have a witness there, Attorney Wirtz?
I do.
Okay, if I could swear him in right now. Okay, sir, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
And you are?
Kurt Engel. I'm the owner of CJE Properties.
Right, okay, fine.
Before I begin, I have some exhibit packets to pass out. These are pre-marked applicants 1 and 2.
Yeah. Thanks, Brad.
Again, my name is Peter Wirtz. I'm an attorney with McNeese, Wallace & Merritt. With me this evening, Kurt Engel on behalf of the applicant, CJE Properties, LLC. If I could have you turn to Exhibit 1 in your packet, Sheet 4 of 10. This is the recorded land development plan, subdivision and land development plan for the subject property. And as outlined on Sheet 4 of 10, the property consists of 2 separate lots identified as Lot 1 and Lot 2. Lot 1 consists of approximately 0.727 acres, and Lot 2 consists of approximately 0.904 acres. And these are 1752 and 1750 Highland Street, respectively. This property is located in the township's CG General Commercial Zoning District. It is adjacent to an unnamed tributary to Laurel Run, located on adjoining township property. A small portion of Lot 2 is within the 100-year floodplain. Applicant recorded this subdivision and land development plan on September 7th, 2018, proposing the development of the 2 lots with 2 buildings, one to serve Harbor House Crabs on Lot 1, which is a seafood retailer, and another building on Lot 2 for purposes of retail flex space. And if, again, with reference to sheet 4 on Exhibit 1, Lot 1 has since been constructed and is currently in operation, and nearly all of the public infrastructure, including drive aisles and parking for both buildings on both Lot 1 and Lot 2 are completed. Applicant is now preparing to construct Building 2 located on Lot 2. By decision dated October 28, 2016, applicant previously received numerous dimensional variances from this board to facilitate the development of the 2 buildings. That 2016 zoning decision is included in your packet as Exhibit 2. Due to the time that has lapsed since the date of that decision, and despite the build-out of all required public infrastructure for Building 2, the Township Zoning Officer has taken the position that the relief granted by the board in 2016 has since expired. Accordingly, applicant is now requesting a reapproval of a number of variances relating to Building 2, including specifically the following: a variance from Section 295-29A, Attachment 2, to permit Building 2 to be located within the required 50-foot front yard setback; a variance from Section 295-29A, Attachment 2, Note A, to permit Building 2 to be located within the required 50-foot rear yard setback; a variance from Section 295-36C to permit Building 2 to be located within the required 50-foot buffer from the unnamed tributary; a variance from Section 295-123D1 to permit the development of Lot 2 without a 30-foot wide buffer yard with a planting screening along its southwestern boundary with the adjoining township property. An applicant is also withdrawing the request for a variance from Section 295-123D1 to permit the use and development of Lot 2 with a 30-foot wide buffer yard with plant screening along its eastern boundary with Lot 1. This variance, which was enumerated as Variance D in the written narrative, was determined to be inapplicable by the zoning officer. So with that said, we're proceeding with the 4 variances identified. And it is my understanding that the township staff supports the relief that is requested based on the zoning hearing board's prior approval in 2016. So with that, I do have some questions for Mr. Engel, unless the board has any initial questions concerning the nature of the relief.
Yeah, just to back up a little bit, Mr. Wertz. So the variances that you're requesting are, as delineated in the public notice, in numbers 1, 2, 3, and 5?
I believe that is correct. The one variance from Section 295-123D1 was requested twice because it related both to the southwestern boundary of the property as well as the eastern boundary of the property. We are withdrawing the request as it relates to the shared property line between lots 1 and 2. I believe that was enumerated as Variance D in the written narrative, which would correspond to Variance 4 on the public notice. I don't believe I have a copy of that.
Okay, so then item 5, that is a variance from Section 295-123D1 of the zoning ordinance to permit the development of Lot 2 without a 30-foot wide buffer yard with plant screening along its southwestern boundary with the township property is still within the purview of your request?
That's correct.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Okay, you and your witness have the floor.
Thank you.
Okay.
Would you please again state your name for the record?
Kurt Engel.
And forgive me, Mr. Did I swear you in?
Yes.
I did. Okay. Thank you.
And are you the owner of Harbor House Crabs as well as the owner of the applicant entity?
Yes.
Building 1 on Lot 1, as shown on sheet 4 of Exhibit 1, the approved land development plan has already been constructed, correct?
Correct.
And how is that building currently being used?
And which building is that? That's the Harbor House Crabs building. It's being used as as Harbor House Crabs.
And you are now ready to begin constructing Building 2 on Lot 2, correct?
That is correct.
Will building 2 eventually be used for a permitted use within the CG zoning district?
Yes.
And did you obtain zoning approvals from this board in 2016 to facilitate the construction of both of these buildings?
Yes.
And are you simply asking the board to reapprove that relief as it relates to building 2?
That is correct.
I'm going to walk through each of the variances requesting, making reference again to sheet 4 of Exhibit 1. The first variance is from section 295-29A, attachment 2, which requires a 50-foot front yard setback for all properties located in the CG district, where off-street parking will be located between the principal building and an arterial street. Is it your understanding that Highland Street is an arterial street?
Correct.
And is there some minimal parking proposed between building 2 and Highland Street?
Yes, there is.
Will the proposed setback from building 2 to Highland Street be 20.62 feet at its closest point?
That is correct.
And was building 2 angled the way that it is due to the unique configuration of the lot, specifically the fact that it has a triangle shape?
That is correct.
And was the goal and placement of the building to comply with the various setback requirements in the zoning ordinance to the greatest extent possible?
Absolutely, yes.
If building 2 is located further away from Highland Street, would it further encroach into the rear yard setback and the required buffer for the unnamed tributary?
Yes, it would.
The next variance is from section 295-29A, attachment 2, note A, which requires a 50-foot rear yard setback for all properties located in the CG district where a principal business use abuts a residential lot in a residential district. Is the land adjoining lot 2 owned by Swatara Township?
That's what I believe.
Is it your understanding that the land is zoned RS, single-family residential?
Yes.
Is that land currently vacant?
Yes.
So in this situation, is it your understanding that the 50-foot setback applies?
Yes.
Is your understanding that if not for the adjoining residentially zoned property, the required rear yard setback for lot 2 would only be 25 feet?
Yes, that is correct.
What rear yard setback is proposed on this plan?
30 feet.
So less than the 50-foot setback, residential setback, but greater than the 25-foot setback ordinarily required.
Yes.
Does the unnamed tributary in the township's property create additional natural buffer from building 2?
Yes, it does create the buffer, a buffer.
Sheet 4 of Exhibit 1 also shows a proposed retaining wall constructed along the rear property boundary of lot 2. Has that retaining wall since been constructed?
Yes, it is 100% complete.
The next variance is from section 295-36C of the zoning ordinance, which does not permit any building to be located within 50 feet of the primary bank of a perennial creek or natural lake or pond. Is the 50-foot stream setback noted with a dashed line on sheet 4 of Exhibit 1?
Yes.
Will a small portion of the back left corner of the building containing approximately 281.47 square feet be located within that buffer area?
Yes.
Will that portion of the building still be 33.31 feet from the unnamed tributary at its closest point?
That is correct.
Finally, you're requesting a variance from section 295-123D1 of the zoning ordinance, which requires a minimum 30-foot wide buffer yard with plant screening along the rear and side lot lines of any lot used principally for non-residential purposes that is contiguous to a lot occupied by an existing principal dwelling or an undeveloped residentially zoned lot. Is building 2 proposed to be outside of this buffer?
Yes.
Are you asking, however, for a variance to allow you to move forward without installing plant screening in the buffer yard?
Yes.
Does this portion of the property naturally slope down towards the unnamed tributary?
Yes, it does.
As a result of the slope and configuration of the property, do you think placing plantings within the 30-foot buffer would be problematic?
Yes.
And in the written narrative, there was a representation concerning planting across the lot line on the township property. Is it your understanding, based on conversations with the zoning officer, that township takes the position that there's sufficient existing planting on the township property such that we would no longer be proposing to do that?
Yes, because it is woods.
If the requested variances are approved, what is your timeline to move forward with construction of building 2?
As soon as possible.
Any questions from Mr. Engel?
I mean, it seems to me that the general factual situation really has not changed much, if at all, since the original application of, 7-8 years ago. So I really don't know that I have anything else to offer. With the exception of the whole planting thing, I think it was Mrs. Shank had addressed the issue of planting in an area adjacent to the township property. Now, is that now a non-issue, or I'll address that then to Mr. Golden.
My understanding is that the variance request is still on the table because we are not proposing to do any planting within the buffer. However, initially we had proposed to install planting on the township property on the other side of the lot line, but Mr. Golden has taken the position that there's sufficient planting there such that that would no longer be required. That's my understanding, unless the township's perspective is different.
And I will turn to Mr. Golden then momentarily for clarification. That's really the only thing that causes me any pause, and I don't even know that it causes me pause for that matter. Ms. Taylor, any questions?
No.
All right, Mr. Blakovic?
No.
All right, Mr. Fenical? No. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you at least for now. If you just want to relax for a minute, then we'll turn to our zoning officer. And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And you are?
Zach Goulden, Director of Planning and Zoning Officer for Swatara Township.
Okay. Now, Mr. Golden, as you know, I covered all the procedural items and so forth, so no need to, beat that horse anymore.
Sure.
But give us your thoughts.
Yep, just very briefly. So as the applicant's attorney stated, the Zoning Hearing Board did grant variances for this property on October 28, 2016. According to Township Code Section 295-13.G.1, after a variance is approved, then any applicable zoning permit shall be secured by the applicant within 12 months after the date of such approval or authorization. The work authorized by zoning permit shall then be completed within 12 months after the issuance of the permit. At their meeting on September 28, 2017, the Zoning Hearing Board granted an additional 12 months until October 28, 2018 to obtain any applicable zoning permits authorized that were granted in October 2016 and 12 months from the date of the issuance of said zoning permits to complete all construction. According to Township Code Section 295-13G3, if an applicant fails to obtain the necessary permits to begin construction within the above time periods or allow interruptions in substantial completion of longer than 12 months, the zoning officer shall conclusively presume that the applicant has waived, withdrawn, or abandoned approvals, variances, and permits under this chapter, and all such approvals, variances, and permits shall be deemed automatically rescinded by the township. So since the variances for the property expired approximately 7 years ago, the permit was denied when he submitted it. I did have a question regarding the in lieu of required landscaping. However, the applicant's attorney did address that. They are required to apply for the variance because the township's property is zoned RS, so it is a residential district. The township supports the variance request, all variance requests as it was previously approved. Nothing's changed. And the abutting property, the goal of the township is to have a park there at some point. So if additional plantings were put on our side of the property, it may inhibit future trail growth or other issues. So we are 100% in support of the application, and we feel they met the burden of proof as required under Section 910.2 of the PA Municipal Planning Code and Township Code Section 295-13D3B.
Okay, just a comment or two, please. Now, when you refer to the park, I presume you're referring to the colloquially referred to as the Bishop Park?
That's correct.
Okay, and on the issue of the planting and so forth, maybe I'm making too much of a deal out of this, but are you, not that I'm granting veto power to you by any means, Mr. Golden, but are you saying then that you would be completely okay with this application as submitted, excluding item number 4?
That's correct.
Okay, with no other provisos?
No other provisos.
Thank you. Okay. Ms. Taylor, questions for the zoning officer?
No.
Okay, Mr. Malakovic? No. Okay. Okay, we'll open this up to the floor. Any questions, any comments by anyone on this particular issue? Yeah, please approach.
My name is Albert Comer. I just have a,
May I have your address also, please?
pardon?
Your address?
1240 on Star Road.
Okay, and do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just have a complaint with the bufferance to the unknown tributary. I've seen that there is recently a lot of flooding on High Spire Road. I mean, not High Spire Road, Highland Street.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if there could be any more improvements done there to prevent any more flooding in that area. And with the trees becoming old and falling. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Mr. Wertz, do you have any summary comments?
Very briefly, yes. Again, the requested relief is based on the property's unique physical circumstances, its shape. The combination severely restricts usable area under applicable setbacks and buffers, the unnamed tributary that exists on the property. This will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. This plan was approved in 2016. It's marked by its integrated development between the two lots. It's the minimum relief that's necessary, and this is, again, purely dimensional zoning relief, and as this board knows, under the case Hertzberg, Pennsylvania Supreme Court acknowledges a lower standard of burden of proof with respect to dimensional variances compared to use-related variances. So in sum, we see this as a reasonable adjustment of the applicable provisions. And again, this relief was previously approved in 2016 by this board. Thank you.
Just a couple bookkeeping questions. You were with the McNeese firm in Lancaster, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Engel, is your address the same as what's listed for the property address, mailing address of 9 Oak Brook Lane, E10?
It's 4 Oak Brook Lane.
Oh, yep, you're right, 4 Oak Brook Lane. Got it, okay, that's all I need. There's certainly, in my humble opinion, no need for an executive session unless either of my members want an executive session. Okay, let's move on.
We'll make the exhibits all part of the record. They're admitted into the record.
Thank you.
Okay, and with that, okay, just as a summary here, we're dealing with the application submitted by CJE Properties for the property located along the south side of Highland Street, identified as 1750 Highland Street. Without going through the 4 variance requests, we'll just say that they refer to those that appear on the public notice, items 1, 2, 3, and 5. Agreed? Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, and I vote being a vote in favor of the application for certain variances. Ms. Taylor, how do you vote?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Malakovic? Aye. And I, Mr. Barrett, the chairman, also vote aye. The application is approved unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
And this hearing's adjourned. Okay, the second item on our agenda this evening is to hear a zoning appeal filed by Pennsylvania Business Center LP and Triple Crown Corporation for property located at 1065 High Spire Road, Swatara Township, parcel number 63-062-026, which is located in the General Commercial CG zoning district. The appeal of the the appeal of the zoning officer's determination of September 4th, 2025, or application for a use variance was submitted by Claudia N. Shank, Esquire, counsel for the applicants on or about Friday, September 12th, 2025. The applicant requests the following. 1, an appeal of the zoning officer's determination under date of September 4th, 2025, whereby the zoning officer denied a certificate of zoning use and occupancy permit application to the township. Said application denied on the basis that the proposed use of the property constitutes distribution as the principal use, which is not permitted in the CG zoning district under the township zoning ordinance. The zoning officer also determined that the application violate the approved final land development plan. 2, in the alternative, the applicant seeks a variance from section 295-28H of the zoning ordinance to allow the use of the property as proposed in the certificate of zoning use and occupancy permit application. In conformance with the municipality planning code, the township, as required, provided public notice of the hearing. This was accomplished by publishing a public notice in the Patriot News on 2 occasions prior to the public hearing. Such public notice of the hearing was advertised in the Patriot News on Sunday, October 12th, 2025, and on Sunday, October 19th, 2025. In addition, notice of said hearing was posted on the affected property on Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. Moreover, all nearby property owners were notified by first-class mail on Thursday, October 2nd, 2025. On Tuesday, September 30th, 2025, the Township Planning Commission and the governing body were given notice. Notice of the hearing was also posted in the lobby of the Township Administration Building on Tuesday, September 30th, 2025. I now recognize the Township Zoning Officer and/or counsel for the Township to present the municipality's evidence in this case. Good evening.
Good evening.
And you are?
Thank you. Sure. That's why I'm down. Good evening. Melissa Kelso from Kelso Law here on behalf of Swatara Township.
I'm sorry, Melissa?
Kelso, K-E-L-S-O.
Right, okay, fine.
So-
Okay, and are you going to do this, are you going to do kind of a back and forth with Mr. Golden, or?
So I think Mr. Golden was going to kind of give a little bit of the background,
Okay.
and then I have a few questions for him and quite a bit of paper.
Understood, well, we're up for it. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Kelso.
All right, is he still sworn in?
We'll do that again just to be on the safe side,
Okay.
okay? And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And again, I know who you are, but.
Yep. I'm Zach Goulden, Director of Planning and Zoning Officer for Swatara Township.
Very good, thank you. Okay, proceed.
Mr. Golden, this application has a lot of information, so can you just kind of start with a little bit of background as to what happened and how we got here?
Sure, of course. So the township received a certificate of zoning use and occupancy permit application on August 8th, 2025 for this property located at 1065 High Spire Road, Harrisburg, PA 17111. The application was updated and resubmitted on August 11th, 2025. The proposed use was stated as tenant fit out in flex warehouse existing shell building, new office space. Profast Inc., supplier of concrete anchors, fasteners, adhesive, and general supplies. This application was ultimately withdrawn by the applicant. An updated application was resubmitted on August 29th, 2025, and it included a narrative from McNeese, Wallace, and Nurick, LLC. The August 29th application identified the use as flex space building, where earlier documents referenced Flex Warehouse. The narrative also now indicated it was a retail sales use. Prior to rendering a determination, I had further discussions with the applicant's attorney in an effort to clarify the actual use. I also reviewed various documents that I outlined in the ultimate determination. I issued a zoning determination via letter and email to the applicant on September 4th, 2025, denying the application. I noted the following in my determination. 1, the subject property is located in the general commercial CG zoning district. 2, I pulled the recorded land development plan for the property. Under page 3, under zoning data and proposed use, it states office with accessory storage. Also on page 3, under parking data and proposed use, it shows office with accessory storage. And the parking calculations were based on office and storage. Therefore, I determined that the prior zoning officer permitted the land development plan as office as the principal use and storage or warehousing as the accessory uses. This would be consistent with the uses permitted in the CG zoning district at the time of land development. Third, in his email dated August 13th, 2025, Mr. Brad Mullins, owner of Profast, stated, and I quote, "We are a true distribution business in the sense that we have a small retail space, all business to business. So walk-in traffic is minimal, and then the remaining 18,929 square foot of warehouse is for employees only to handle the pick, pack, and ship and outbound," end of quote. Via email, I asked Mr. Mullins via email, what percentage would you say is bought in the retail office area itself versus being shipped directly to customers, end of quote. He responded and said, quote, "Extremely small as a percent. It could be possibly less than 1%. It would be 1 to 2% on a busy day. 3 walk-ins throughout the course of an 8-hour day. Some days none," end of quote. Mr. Courtney also stated in his application narrative that the majority of its sales, and he stated 70%, are made on a retail basis where products in its stores are delivered directly to the purchaser contractor. 4, Section 295-22 of the Swatara Township zoning ordinance defines accessory use as, quote, "a use customarily incidental and subordinate to the principal use or building and located on the same lot with such principal use," end of quote. Number 5, with the information provided by Mr. Mullins and Mr. Courtney, I determined that the actual uses included the principal use is distribution as a principal use, accessory uses, office, retail sales, and storage or warehouse. And finally, 6, I also determined that the proposed use violated the approved and recorded land development plan that shows office as the principal use and accessory storage as the accessory use. This ultimately goes back to what is the actual use. Until recently, the applicant had requested approval of a space for office with accessory storage. That use has now been changed, and distribution as a principal use is not permitted within this zone.
Thank you, Mr. Golden. All right, I'm going to take you back to the land development plan, which is kind of where you started. And board, is it okay if I approach with maybe a couple exhibits at once?
Mm-hmm.
One.
Oh, but I have, yep. Yep, sure. Mhm.
All right, Mr. Golden. So the first exhibit that I just handed out is we marked as Township 1, and that is a revised final land development plan for Eisenhower Business Center. Is that the plan for this property we're here talking about?
It is.
And you had mentioned something about some notes on that plan. Is this the plan that you had looked at?
That's correct.
Right. If you can turn to sheet 3 of that plan, please. And kind of in the upper right corner there, in very small print, it says proposed use. And what does it say next to proposed use?
Office with accessory storage.
All right, and down at the bottom of that same page, sheet 3, under parking data, it says proposed use. What does it say the proposed use is?
Office with accessory storage.
And did this information play a role in your determination?
Yes, it did.
Now, do you know, is that the final land development plan that was ever presented?
That is.
Were there any revisions after the initial one?
No.
Well, I'm going to take you to Exhibit 2, which is a memorandum to the township and the former zoning officer from engineers at Dalwood. Do you see that?
Yes.
And this references a revised final land development plan for Eisenhower Business Center, and the date's April 6th of 2023. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so some revisions must have been submitted for an additional review. Is that correct?
Yes.
And if we look at the last sentence of that first paragraph there, it says office with accessory storage building between Eisenhower Boulevard and High Spire Road. Did I read that correct?
On page 1?
On page 1, yep, the last part of that first
yes.
paragraph.
That's correct.
Okay. So as of April 6, 2023, we were still talking about an office with accessory storage building, correct?
Correct.
All right, so then Township 3 that you have is some meeting minutes from the regular meeting of the Swatara Township Board of Commissioners dated April 12, 2023. Now, that would come after that engineer review that we just went over, correct?
Yes.
And if you can flip to page 3, down under number 15B, can you just read for us what the consideration of Plan 2022-02C, Eisenhower Boulevard Center revised plans for Triple Crown Corporation. Can you just read that first sentence there?
Yes. Triple Crown Corporation and their engineer, Panoni Associates, Inc., have submitted a revised final land development plan for the construction of a 78,000 square foot office with accessory storage building between Eisenhower Boulevard and High Spire Road.
And if you can flip over to page 4, at the very end of 15B, there was a motion made. Was that motion made to conditionally approve the revised preliminary final land development plan of Triple Crown for Eisenhower Business Center?
Yes.
And did that motion pass?
Yes.
So what the township approved back then was, again, an office with accessory storage building, correct?
Correct.
Now, following that, eventually the applicant had submitted some requests for building and zoning permits. Is that correct?
Yes.
And was that October of 2023?
Correct.
So you should have townships 4 and 5 in front of you, those exhibits, and 4, I believe, is the building permit dated October 9, 2023. You see that?
Yes.
And for the purpose in the middle there, what is identified as the purpose of this building?
Construct new 78,000 square foot flex building and related site improvements on existing commercial site per approved building plan and specifications.
And that approved building plan would have been the plan we just looked at, correct?
Correct.
That emphasized the office with accessory storage.
Yes.
And Township Exhibit 5 then should be a zoning permit. And if you can just look at the same part in the middle there, the for the purpose, and read what that says.
Construct new 78,000 square foot flex building and related site improvements on existing commercial site per final land development plan number 2022-02C dated August 16, 2023.
And so that zoning permit again goes back to what was approved in the land development plan.
Correct.
Now I have some more exhibits to hand out. All right, now I know I just handed out a bunch more paper, but we can start here with what we've marked as Township Exhibit 6, which is a stormwater permit. Do you see that, Mr. Golden?
Yes,
And that's issued to PA Business Center LP, High Spire Road. Is that the same property we're talking about?
that's correct.
And just like we did with the last couple, in the middle there, for the purpose, can you read what the purpose was that the stormwater permit was submitted for?
Construct new 78,000 square foot flex building and related site improvements on existing commercial site per final land development plan number 2022-02C dated August 16, 2023.
And so that would have been August 16th, 2023. So that's after the April 2023 meeting minutes we just read, right? And before the zoning permit, correct?
Correct.
And that relates back to the land development plan we've talked about a few times.
Correct.
So the next one is Township Exhibit 7, which is, it looks like an August 8th, 2025 permit application. You had referenced in your initial testimony that there was kind of a couple of applications submitted that led to this. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And so is this one of them, the first one in our
Yes.
series here?
Yes, it is.
And in the middle there, what is the proposed use?
Tenant fit out in flex warehouse, existing shell building, new office space.
Now, is the warehouse permitted use in this district?
No.
Eventually, there was another application on August 11th, right?
Correct.
Now, were there any discussions between you and the applicant before that August 11th application?
Before the 11th, August 8th application?
I'm sorry, the August 11th, the follow-up one.
Yes.
So what we have here is Township Exhibit 8, appears to be a bunch of emails. Can you look through there and explain to the board what these emails are?
Okay, yes. So due to their very vague application and it didn't provide the actual business use, I emailed Miss Kathy Klepper, Mr. Nick DeSanto, basically trying to get clarification on the specific use they're proposing.
And in that discussion, there was a revised plan submitted on August 11th, correct?
That's correct.
And Ms. Kathy Klepper sent those to you by email?
Yes.
And is that the Township Exhibit 10 that we handed out? I know I skipped over a little bit.
There would be Exhibit 9, I believe.
Up 9. All right, then I'm perfect. Now, in these emails, any information in there that caused you to kind of second guess what was really going on here, what the use was?
Let's see here. Yes.
So why don't we look at Township Exhibit 9, the August 11th application. What's the proposed use described as in there?
Tenant fit out in a flex warehouse, existing shell building, new office space. Profast Inc., supplier of concrete anchors, fasteners, adhesives, and general commercial supplies.
So based on that, you asked Ms. Klepper some additional questions about whether this was office space, are they making, shipping concrete fasteners, all of that,
That's
correct?
correct. That's correct.
And you eventually received a response from her on August 13th. Is that the first page of our Township 8?
Yes.
And what does she explain about Profast here in this response?
This says, Profast, this will serve as their corporate office and retail sales point with accessory warehouse use. These are permitted uses under the current zoning ordinance. No manufacturing will occur at the location.
Now, does that match what was on either the August 8th application or the August 11th application?
No.
So following these exchanges on August 13th of 2025, was there any further discussion with the applicant or its counsel?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about those.
The township manager, Kevin Trafka, myself, and Steve Cocarisi, who is our township solicitor, had a Teams call with Charlie Courtney, who is the works with McNeese and is the applicant's counsel, and they explained what the proposed use was.
And do you recall how they explained that, how the applicant's attorney explained the use?
Yeah, so what they're doing is they're taking products from their warehouse and they then distribute them to businesses and customers at construction sites usually.
And that's how it was explained to you?
Yes.
And during all of this, did you have any discussions with Mr. Mullins, who I believe you had talked about earlier?
I did.
Who is Brad Mullins?
He's one of the owners of ProFast.
All right. And how did you end up reaching out to him?
I sent an email to, on Exhibit 9, they use under the business, it says ProFast Inc., and then it uses alex.m@profastinc.com. So I sent an email to him. Would you like me to explain it, or?
Well, let's look at Mrs. I think Exhibit 10
Yes.
emails. The second to last page there, that appears to be an email from you to the individual you just identified, correct?
Correct.
And it looks like you asked this individual about our customers going to come to the location and shop, and the about 18,000 plus square feet, that's the warehouse portion, right? Or is it basically just distribution?
Yes.
And why did you care about those items?
Because distribution as a principal use is not permitted in the CG zoning district.
Is retail permitted?
It is.
Now, it looks like your email got escalated up from Mr. Zach Heisey to Mr. Mullins. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So Mr. Mullins responded to you on Wednesday, August 13th at 2:42 p.m. Can you take a look at that page there?
Yes.
And how did Mr. Mullins here describe this? And I know you read through some of it, but I just want to make sure we have it all.
Sure. So he stated, and I quote, "Customers will only be able to enter the finished 4,560 square foot of office space, and we will have a safety policy. We have a safety policy. Customers are not permitted in the warehouse. We are a true distribution business in the sense that we have small retail space, all B2B, which we believe means business to business. So walk-in traffic is minimal, and then the remaining 18,929,000 square foot of warehouse is for employees only to handle the pick, pack, and ship and outbound."
Now, the last sentence he writes there, "We also already operate in Swatara Township and have a business and use license as well. We have just grown and are upsizing." Did I read that right?
Correct.
And I'm going to go back to that in just a second. But if we want to flip to the first page here, earlier in your testimony, you were discussing Mr. Mullins' response about what the percentage would be in retail versus the distribution. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And what was his response?
He stated, and I quote, "Extremely small as a percent. It could possibly be less than 1%, but I would need a day to pull financials and filter by will call. If you need a rough number, it's 1 to 2% customer-wise. A busy day would be 3 walk-ins throughout the course of an 8-hour day, some days none," end of quote.
And did this information weigh in on your ultimate determination?
Absolutely.
So, Mr. Goldman, I've just handed you what we're marking as Township Exhibit 11. And can you identify what that is for the board?
Yes, this is a zoning permit application for ProFast's current location at 7917 Dairy Street.
And that's the location that Mr. Mullins said they grow out of and they're upsizing.
Correct.
And bear with me one second while I look at this. What is the use that was permitted back then? I believe we're going to look down in the remarks at the bottom.
Correct. So this is a change of use from a window distributor to a construction material distributor as per attached and in accordance with all applicable codes and ordinances, no signs.
And are you aware of what zoning district Profast's current location that this permit dealt with is located in?
I am. It's the limited manufacturing zoning district.
And is distribution permitted as a principal use in that district?
Yes, it is.
Now, eventually, you ended up receiving an August 29th permit application. Is that correct?
Correct.
And on that application, is there an identified use?
On this application itself, no.
How did you try to figure out what the use was supposed to be?
There was an attached letter from McNeese, Wallace, and Nurch, which had about a combination of probably 5 or 6 uses.
And in reading that and looking at all of the information that we have already looked at, what did you determine?
Based on the information provided by Mr. Mullins, the information provided by the land development plan, information provided by McNeese, Charlie in his memo, the narrative, I determined that the principal use was distribution, accessory uses, storage, office, storage, which is warehousing, office, and then retail.
And now within that narrative attached to the August 29th application, there was some reference to retail store use, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you recall that on the prior applications?
No.
And do you believe that the use as described within that narrative or any other information you found meets the definition of retail store?
Absolutely not.
And I'm going to read the definition of retail store, it's short. It's a use in which merchandise is sold or rented to the general public, but not including the following: sales of motor vehicles or boats, adult movie theater, adult bookstore, manufacturing, tavern, car wash, auto service station, auto repair garage, convenience store, or any restaurant. Does that sound right?
Yes.
And you believe that this use, this 1 to 2%, maybe a customer every day walking in off the street, does not meet the definition of retail store?
It does not.
And based on that, you eventually issued a denial letter on September 4th, correct?
Correct.
And did you incorporate all of this information into that denial letter?
I did.
And board, would you like that denial letter as an exhibit?
Yes, please.
All right, Mr. Golden, I just handed
Can I
you.
just stop you for a second there? Are we going to show that as Exhibit 12?
That should be 12, please. Thank
Okay.
you. Mr. Golden, Exhibit 12 that we just handed you, is that the denial?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And within there, you made a determination that we already discussed, right? And also, on page 4 of 5, kind of towards the bottom, I have also determined that this application is clearly in violation of the approved land development plan. Did I read that right?
You did.
Okay. And why did you decide that?
Because the land development plan clearly states the proposed use was office as a principal use and accessory storage as an accessory use. This application is distribution as a principal use.
Mr. Golden, is there any information that throughout, let's say, the last month, 2 months, really, as this has been going on, that you heard that you think I didn't go over that matters to your determination?
No.
Those are all the questions I have for Mr. Golden.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay, Ms. Shank, do you want to approach and? Okay. And for the record, you are?
I'm Claudia Shank with McNeese Wallace and Nurick on behalf of the applicant.
Fine, and do you have a witness or two?
I do. It's Mr. Mark DeSanto.
Okay, and Mr. DeSanto, could I swear you in right now, please? And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Very good, thank you. Ms. Shank, the floor is yours.
I'm going to pause if I could and hand out some exhibits. I'll go over them in my testimony. We'll be sticking around here a little bit. Many of them are the same as the ones in the township.
That's fine. No.
All right, Mr. Golden, I'm going to ask you first to turn to Township's Exhibit 1, which is the land development plan.
Okay.
And I'm specifically going to ask you to look at the bottom of sheet 3. So you read to the board the proposed use under the parking data section, which is highlighted. Can you read how the required parking was calculated for this plan?
I'll try. Let's see. You want me to read required parking?
Yes.
It says storage 1 per 1.2 employees based on max employees on site at peak periods of time plus visitor space for every 10 managers on site, assuming 30 employees, 30 divided by 1.2 is 25 spaces. Assumed 13 managers, 13 divided by 10 equals 1.3 equals 2 spaces. Office, 1 space per 300 square foot. Assumed 21,000 square foot of office space, 21,000 divided by 370 spaces. And it says required total is 97.
So the parking calculation on this plan was based off of approximately 21,000 square feet of office space
Office with accessory storage, yes.
in a 78,000 square foot building.
Yes.
Would you consider office the primary use of the building if only 1/3 of the building was used for office purposes?
The zoning officer at the time determined that office with accessory storage is the use, so that was the determination that got the land development plan approved.
Well, let's talk about that. I'm going to ask you to turn to Exhibit 4 in the packet that I just handed to you. Have you seen that document before?
Yes.
And can you identify it?
This is an internal staff memo to the Planning Commission.
And I'm going to ask you to turn to page 2 of that memo. Comment 2. Can you read that to the board?
The proposed use is flex space, which is a combination of office, storage, and distribution. This is a permitted use in the CG district.
And who authored this memorandum?
The former zoning officer, Director of Planning and Zoning, Robert Elon.
And when is it dated?
February 16th, 22.
So you'll agree with me that Mr. Eli made a determination in this memorandum that the use of the building was flex space and that that was permitted.
No,
Why not?
it's not an official zoning determination. It is a staff memo.
A staff memo that was provided to the applicant, that was provided to the Planning Commission when they reviewed the plan, correct?
It was provided to the Planning Commission. I don't know if it was provided to the applicant because it's an internal staff memo.
Well, I'd submit to you the applicant also had a copy of it and received a copy of it. I'm going to ask you next to turn to Exhibit 3 in the packet. You're familiar with the building that is the subject of this application, correct?
Yes.
Are those photographs of the building, 2 sheets?
Yes.
Does that look like an office building to you?
Office buildings look differently depending on what the office is.
Did you tell the Planning Commission at a recent meeting that it did not look like an office building to you?
So personally, to me, it doesn't.
What does it look like to you?
Just looks like a large building.
You familiar with many office buildings that have over 20 dock doors?
Personally,
As the township zoning officer,
no.
are you familiar with the term flex space or flex building?
No.
You have not ever heard that term used in zoning or in land development matters?
It's not a use defined in our zoning ordinance.
That's not my question. Have you ever heard that use in real estate or zoning or land development matters?
No.
So when Mr. Eline referred to a flex building in his memo that was applicant's exhibit 4, you have no idea what he was talking about.
Yeah, I do, because he put in parentheses, there's 3 different uses.
But other than his definition there, you have no idea what he meant or what anyone might mean by flex building.
He meant there was a combination of uses. He never defined a principal or accessory use.
I don't have any additional questions.
Was there any questions for Attorney Chen?
No,
I'm sorry, for Mr. Golden?
no, not at this time.
Okay, or Mr. Malakovic, questions for Mr. Golden?
Not at this time.
Yeah, and I have no questions at this point either. Okay, yeah, if you want to present your witnesses at this point, please.
Yes, thank you. So if I could, I would just like to start by going over some of the background in this case. Some of the arguments that we're making tonight are going to require witness testimony from Mr. DeSanto. Others are really legal arguments. I think much of the factual scenario that's before the board in terms of the relevant documents is not in dispute. In fact, many of the documents that the township presented to you are the same documents that are included in our exhibit packet. It's really how those documents are interpreted. So I have included, if you turn to Exhibit 1 in your packet, for the benefit of the board, an aerial map of the property. That's the subject of the application. It is located at 1065 High Spire Drive. The first sheet in Exhibit 1 is the Google Earth image of the property. I provided that because if you turn to the second sheet, you'll see an excerpt from the tax map. The building is not yet on the property in that image. It's 10.02 acres. It is in the general commercial zoning district, as was previously noted. Exhibit 2 in our packet is the same as the township's Exhibit 1. It's a copy of the recorded land development plan in this matter. Exhibit 3, I referred to in Mr. Golden's cross-examination. Those are photographs of the building provided for the benefit of the board, and Mr. DeSanto took those photographs and he will authenticate during his testimony. But I would submit to the board that what it depicts is a single-story building, a 24-foot clear height inside, and on the second page you can see that the building has 26 dock doors. The chronology and the determinations that were made in this matter are critical to the process, and I obviously have heard them described by Mr. Golden. We have a bit of a different interpretation of them, but which I'd like to go through. So we did submit the plan in early 2022 to the township. The intended use of the property at that time was the same as what it is today: flex space, allowing for a combination of uses, including office, storage, and distribution. On February 16th, 2022, the then zoning officer, Robert Eline, determined that the use of the building was flex space, and he further determined that that was a use that was permitted in this zoning district. And if you turn to Exhibit 4, you will see a copy of the memorandum that he issued making those determinations, specifically on page 2. He, as the zoning officer at the time, was permitted to make that determination. Section 295-28E of the zoning ordinance provides that upon a written application, the zoning officer shall have the authority to determine that a proposed use is so closely similar in character and impacts to a use listed as permitted by right, that the use shall also be permitted by right. The Board of Commissioners then approved the final plan on April 12th. And I'll submit to you that in the minutes, I agree that in the final minutes for the Board of Commissioners approval, office with accessory storage is mentioned. There are many different ways that this building has been referred to during the lifetime of the approvals process. I believe at the Planning Commission, it was called a commercial building. We then went on to receive the building permits that Mr. Golden testified to. In my packet, those are exhibits 5, 6, and 7 for the building permit, the zoning permit, and the stormwater permit. Each one of those permits specifically refers to the use as a 78,000 square foot flex building with existing improvement, with related improvements. Following the recording of the plans and the issuance of the permit, we did complete site work and constructed the building. I do also want to point out to the board one document that is new to you would be Exhibit 8 in the packet. That is an operation and maintenance agreement. The applicant was required to complete a traffic study as part of this project. There was concern at the time that the plan was approved about truck traffic to the site. And one of the conditions of approval of the plan that was issued by the Board of Commissioners as a way to address that concern was a requirement that the applicant install and maintain signage restricting trucks exceeding 40 feet from turning from Fooling Mill Road onto High Spire Road. Now, this agreement is with Lower Swatara Township because that is where the signage is located, but it does specifically reference that it is being entered into as a condition of the plan approval issued by the Swatara Township Board of Supervisors. We agree that in August of 2025, we submitted a permit to authorize the use of approximately 23,554 square feet of the building as a flex space for Profast. That business involves the sale and supply of roofing and other building products to contractors. And it does include a combination of retail sales, office, and storage. And then, as was previously indicated, what is our Exhibit 9 is a copy of the denial letter that was issued by Mr. Golden. In terms of the zoning determinations that Mr. Golden made, first he determined, as he testified, that the plan does not provide for the principal use of the property as flex space, including a combination of office, storage, and distribution. Instead, he determined that the principal use of the property was office with an accessory use of storage or warehousing and distribution. Second, he determined that Profast's use of the property was distribution with accessory uses of office and retail sales, and that because distribution was not permitted as a principal use, that the use was not allowed. And third and finally, he determined that the application was, quote, clearly in violation of the final plan. So I'd like to walk you through the relief that we're requesting this evening from the board. First, we're asking for you to overturn Mr. Golden's zoning determination. There are both general and specific determinations related to the property that are built into this letter that was issued by Mr. Golden. The first is a general determination that the use of this building is permitted to be office. And the second is a more specific determination relating to Profast that their use is not office and is not permitted. With respect to the general determination about how this building can be used, we are asking the board to overturn Mr. Golden's conclusion that the principal use of the building must be office, and instead to hold that the applicants are permitted to use this as flex space, as has always been contemplated throughout the zoning and planning process, which is an undivided principal use that may contain different components, such as office, such as distribution, such as retail, and really by its very nature and terminology is designed to be flexible to accommodate a business's changing needs. This use was approved by the zoning officer as permitted in the CG district. We're also asking you to overturn the specific determination related to Profast. Again, we believe Profast's use falls within that definition of flex space and thus is appropriate. In the alternative, if the board were to determine that Mr. Ilheim erred by considering the property flex space, we still believe that we're entitled to relief and to the same relief that I just identified. by virtue of the vested rights doctrine. So our zoning hearing board application, it originally included as alternative relief a request for a use variance for Profast. We're going to withdraw that use variance request. We don't believe that's necessary. We want the board to make a determination based on the substantive merits of the appeal. So in terms of the presentation, our arguments related to overturning Mr. Golden's zoning determination really are legal in nature. So I do have legal argument to make on that point. I do have testimony that I'd like to take from Mr. DeSanto regarding vested rights and that analysis. So perhaps it would be appropriate to do that now. Before I do that, I just want to briefly walk the board through the vested rights doctrine. So, when a landowner under Pennsylvania law relies on some municipal action like the issuance of a zoning permit, building permit, the municipality can't later revise its position and bring an enforcement action against the landowner, and that's what we call the vested rights doctrine. Our Pennsylvania Supreme Court has outlined 5 factors that are to be considered in determining whether a vested right exists. Those include the landowner's due diligence in attempting to comply with the law, the landowner's good faith throughout the proceedings, the landowner's expenditure of substantial unrecoverable funds, the expiration without appeal of the period during which an appeal could have been taken from the issuance of the applicable permit or permits, the insufficiency of the evidence to prove that individual property rights or the public health, safety, or welfare would be adversely affected by use of the permit or permits. And again, our goal through Mr. DeSanto's testimony will be to establish that we meet these 5 criteria. So with that as background, Mr. DeSanto, could you state your name and address for the record?
Mark DeSanto, 6122 Minglewood Road, Harrisburg.
Would you mind approaching the mic, please?
Mark DeSanto, 6122 Minglewood Road, Harrisburg, PA, 17112.
Thank you.
And the appellant in this matter, PA Business Center LP, is related to Triple Crown Corporation, and you are an owner of that entity, correct?
Yes.
And you're familiar with the subject matter of the application?
Yes.
Do you agree with the background that I just provided to the board concerning the chronology in this matter?
Yes, I do.
What was your intended use of the property at the time that you initially submitted the land development plan?
Well, when we were shown the property by Bill Gladstone with CIR Realty, he said, that we could do the flex space in there. We then met with Mr. Elon, talked about it, told him what we were going to do. We built multiple flex buildings in the township already, down at Turnpike Business Center, even where Profast is. That building is the same construction as what we are talking about now. So the concept and discussion had always been about flex space.
And what does flex space mean to you?
Well, flex is a combination of storage, distribution, and some component of office. There's no real definition that I'm aware of the percentages, but clearly you're having a distribution storage, and in all of our flex space, the office is the smallest component of that.
And has the need for flex space grown with the increased online retailing?
Well, it's a high demand product. I'm sure everybody's aware about warehousing, big box warehousing. Flex space is not that. It's usually low volume of heavy big trucks, and it's serving more localized areas. And yes, the true line of retail is constantly being blurred. I mean, a good example is like Home Depot. Is that a warehouse or a retail store? It does both.
And it was your understanding, based on your conversations with Mr. Ilheim as the zoning officer, as well as his memo issued in February 2022, that he was approving the use of the building as flex space?
Yes, and we asked for that clarification because we wanted to be sure that what we were building was permissible.
Were you transparent with Mr. Ilheinen, with the township, at all times during the permitting process about your proposed use of the building?
100%.
Would you say that you acted with due diligence and good faith in your attempt to comply with the township's process?
Absolutely, we did. We had multiple meetings with the township staff. We were initially going to take the entrance off Eisenhower Boulevard, and it was decided to go to High Spire Street because we could get to a red light up by, was that Gilligan's up there. We did traffic studies. We did core borings of High Spire Street to show it had the capacity for the truck that would be driving on that, and we did do the HOP to get PennDOT approved signage in both Swatara and Lower Swatara Township. That was part of the resolution that the board approved in, was it 2022, I believe.
And the township also issued to you a zoning permit, a stormwater permit, and a building permit, all which identified the use as flex space, correct?
Yes, they did.
And did you undertake the planning, engineering, development, and construction of the building based on this understanding?
Yes. We always presented it as flex space. And even when you look at the page 3 of the plan where it says office and accessory storage, that was put on there by an engineer. It wasn't a legal document as part of the plan. It was a statement. But when you look at the calculation of the parking area, we used 21,000 feet of a 78,000 square foot building. We were only expecting maximum 26% of that space to be office. So clearly, with that calculation, the balance was going to be storage, distribution, some sort of flexible use. I mean, we couldn't have been any clearer with it.
So whoever made the determination to put office with accessory warehousing use on the plan, you weren't involved in that decision?
No, the engineer, Pannoni, put that on. There was I don't even recall them asking us what it should be named at that point.
So I'm going to refer to Exhibit 3 in the packet, and these are 2 photographs. Were these photographs taken by you?
Yes, they were.
And do they depict the building that we're discussing?
Yes, and I think it's important that the board looks at these 2 pictures. I just took them on Saturday. It's a nice day out there. You can tell by the pictures, but clearly, this is not an office building. We were given the permit to build this, and these were now 3-dimensional plans. The township saw the size and how every side of this building was going to look. And if you go to page 2, it shows a loading dock area and the potential for 26 garage doors for delivering product and having truck services there. And then in the front of that, there's a concrete area where trucks would be able to drop their when they would unload, and the truck has the ability to drop and hold the vehicle there, and that's why we put concrete in place. So clearly, this was envisioned as a flex building, and it's not a big box warehouse. It's 78,000 feet, and it's doing exactly what it's supposed to be. We are broken this building up into, we have 2 potential users right now, and then the remaining space would probably put 3 in there. So it's multi-purpose, providing services to the township and the local population.
And both of those prospective tenants are existing township businesses, correct?
Yes, they are.
If you had known that this would happen, that you would be not permitted to use the building for flex space, would have you built it in the first place?
Absolutely not. I mean, we have about $11 million there in site work and building construction, and now we're being told we can't use it. I mean, applied for every permit. We called it exactly what we called it. We were led down a pathway that said we could do it, and then when we bring tenants to it, we're told it's not that.
What would you anticipate the cost would be to convert this building into a retail use, if that's even possible?
Well, it would be massive, but I don't even think it's reasonable because the access is up off High Spire Street. It's not like you're a retail position where you would be getting access off Eisenhower Boulevard. The structure of the building, I think these are 140-foot deep bays, front to back. And when you do most retail, that's only about 60 feet deep. If you're doing like Starbucks, more of a real retail use. So the building's not even configured for it, and access to it isn't functional for true, I will say, retail use. And I mean, it would almost be just to tear down and start over, and the access wouldn't even support it.
And your testimony is that approximately $12 million have been spent to date to construct the building and improve the lot.
Approximately, yes.
And obviously, you're also losing money and being unable to lease it while this proceeding moves forward.
Yes, we have two tenants that are ready to take, I think it's 60,000 feet of the 62,000 feet of the 78,000 foot. And I mean, we were hoping to have tenants in this year. I mean, that's not going to happen. If everything goes well, I mean, our best case would be Q1, Q2 next year.
Did the township or any third party appeal the approval of your land development plan?
We had no opposition that I can remember when we were going through the approval process. There were no appeals.
Was there any appeal or opposition to the issuance of the building permit or the zoning permit or the stormwater permit?
No, everything went through timely. We made one application, got it reviewed, and we were given the permits, and those permits clearly said flex space, which matched what Mr. Eli put in the zoning approval letter.
And have all the time periods for an appeal expired to your knowledge?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Being familiar with the property and the area where the property is located, can you envision any adverse impact in permitting the building to be used for the purpose that it was constructed?
We don't see any adverse impacts. We did all the appropriate landscaping requirements on the building. We didn't have any variances in that regard. All the setbacks are met. So no, I don't see any negative impacts.
And this matter was discussed in public meetings on several occasions, correct?
Yes, multiple occasions.
All right, I'm going to ask you to look at Exhibit 11 in your packet.
Yes.
Is that a photograph that you took?
Yes, I took that one Saturday also.
And where are we looking on this photograph?
We are at the south side of the property looking north up Eisenhower Boulevard, and that's the realtor who's marketing the property for us, their sign, and it's been on Eisenhower Boulevard for about a year and a half.
And it identifies 78,000 square feet of flex warehouse available for lease, correct?
That's what it does say, and everybody's driven past it for a year and a half, and we never heard anybody saying you can't do that.
Yeah, so to ask you the question more directly, no one from the township ever contacted you about that sign or indicated to you in any way that warehouse or flex space use was not permitted for the building?
No one did. It was never questioned.
And I think it goes without saying, based on your prior testimony, but would your company suffer a significant and irreversible injury if the township were not to allow you to use the building in the manner for which it's been designed?
Significant is being kind to the loss that would occur.
And do you agree with all the narrative and application materials that have been submitted in connection with this application, that those are accurate and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
I don't have any additional questions for Mr. DeSanto.
Okay, thank you. If you could just hang in there for a minute, Mr. DeSanto, a question that really Ms. Shank kind of usurped this from me was, what would you do with this building in the event that the appeal is unsuccessful? you kind of hinted at that it would be virtually worthless.
Well, it would be very, very difficult to find a tenant that would meet the requirements. You know, I mean, I don't, not to be threatening or anything, but, you know, obviously if we get a decision that's not supportive of our position, I mean, I have no other action but to move it forward to court.
Understood.
I mean, again, it's just the reality, because the economic hardship here is drastic.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Ms. Kelso,
I do have a couple questions for Mr. DeSanto.
please do.
Can you tell me where you'd like to stand?
So we can
Can you
both.
hear me okay if I stand here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Mr. DeSanto, you're not saying that the realtor gets to decide what use is permitted here, are you?
No, I'm just showing evidence that this has been represented, you know, in the township. The zoning officer and everybody, board members, driven up and down the highway and seen it, and no one's going to question that we were marketing it improperly.
So do you believe it's the township's obligation to double check every applicant's marketing?
No, I don't think so. But when the township gives us a letter, I'll finish my statement, ma'am. When the township sends us a letter that says the flex space is allowed, we would feel that presenting it on a sign would be appropriate.
But the township never told you that a warehouse was allowed, correct?
The flex space has the combination of distribution, storage, and office. So there's some level of warehousing that is permitted, yes.
And you have submitted a number of permits here that we've gone through. And all of those permits relate back to the land development plan, correct?
They relate back to the plan and the approval process, yes.
And on your building permit, the applicant indicated that the building was about 2.6 million. Where's that 11 million coming from?
We have the acquisition of the ground, we have the site work, and we have the vertical construction.
Now, the building as it is right now is only a shell, correct?
Yeah, it's a shell, yes, at this point.
And so the permits before were for the shell, right? The building permit, all of that.
They're for the construction of a flex building, yes.
When did you identify Profast as a tenant?
I don't have the exact time, but I believe we had been in discussions for several months.
So it would have been after the zoning permit from 2023 that we went over and the land development plan, is that correct?
Yes.
And you said that do you own the building that Profast is in currently?
We built the building originally, and then we sold it.
And you'll agree that that's in a different zone than this building?
It is.
Now, we keep talking about the memo, the internal memo that Mr. Ilheim, the former zoning officer, prepared. Is it your testimony that the zoning officer can create uses in the zoning ordinance?
It's my interpretation that the zoning officer can determine what are permitted uses in that zone, and clearly, in our dialogue, he has agreed or stated that flex was a permitted use, which is a combination of storage, distribution, and office.
Now, in that memo, he does not state that high demand distribution is permitted, does he?
I didn't see that, no.
Now, part of the argument about vested rights goes to the good faith of the applicant and the council went through all of this process, right, to appeal, correct?
Yes.
Now, after you submitted this appeal, though, you also went to the township to try to circumvent this process. Is that correct?
No, I tried to get my rights enforced.
So you're saying there was no letter submitted to the township asking them to force the zoning officer to change his decision?
Well, I think it's appropriate for, an owner of property to address the management or the board of supervisors, and when someone does an incompetent work, they should be told to do the right thing.
So rather than let this appeal play out, you want to try to circumvent it?
No, not circumventing anything. Exercising my rights, and now we're here at the appeal. It's pretty clear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Any questions for Mr. DeSanto?
No, not at this time.
Okay, and Mr. Malakovic, any questions for Mr. DeSanto? No. Okay, really my only question was regarding the where do we go from here issue, and I understand your passion and so forth. With that, of course, indicating how this board is likely to rule in this case. Yeah. No, your shot.
I would like, Ms. Kelso, can you address the vested rights argument of the applicant in some summary form?
Yes, of course. And so I'd like to just focus on a couple of pieces here. The township is not saying that the applicant cannot have an office with accessory storage. It's not saying that there can't be some combination of uses. What they're saying is that at no point in this was a separate new use created and granted, and the applicant should know that. The applicant submitted, we went through a number of permits, a number of approvals, all of which refer back to the office with accessory storage. With regard to the good faith of it, I think I just touched on a little bit there at the end. However, you also saw in just this August, each application said something a little bit different. And then finally it said, well, we have this over here, but also, by the way, we're retail now. It just kept changing. And so I think it's a little bit of a stretch to say that the applicant here acted in good faith and followed the process based on all of that.
Do you have any more witnesses, Michelle?
I don't. I have some argument at the appropriate time with no further witnesses.
Okay, with some trepidation that I do turn to the audience right now for some public comment. And please approach, provide your name, address.
Good afternoon. My name is Chad Adams. I live at 1017 High Spire Road, approximately 3 houses up from the site.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Very good. You have 3 minutes to say what you'd like to say, sir.
Perfect. Thank you. Appreciate your time. So I definitely take some issue with the distribution portion of the request. I personally thought that when the entrance was taken off of High Spire and off of Eisenhower and put onto High Spire, that was probably not a wise decision because our road is very narrow, does not suit truck traffic, or I don't think it suits a higher level of traffic. When Emerald Point was put in, we saw a high increase in traffic, a lot of people that don't obey the speed limits in that area. There were pedestrians that used to walk that road, including myself, but it's become unsafe with the current traffic. Where the proposed entrance has quite a blind spot to the southbound traffic on High Spire Road. So some of the people flying down that road are going to come up on that entrance pretty abruptly. So if you have trucks pulling out slowly, it could certainly cause a safety issue for the public. Beyond that, my main question with distribution is the volume of it. Like, what is the definition here? Are we talking dozens of trucks a day? Are we talking a truck in the morning, a truck in the afternoon? It sounds to me like the proposed entrance is to come down High Spire from Highland Street because it's restricted to come up Fulling Mill right now, which also gives me some concern that that turn that used to be a throughway before 283 was there is pretty tight. And then getting back onto Eisenhower, there's no right-hand turn lanes, no left-hand turn lanes. Light cycles are going to be bound up by truck traffic now. I just don't think this is good to have a high volume of distribution use in there. To me, when I heard flex warehouse, I thought general contractors storing goods, people showing up for work, some office space. I personally work in a flex warehouse. It looks exactly like this. We have 10,000 square feet of office inside. We do very minimal distribution out of it, where manufacturing wouldn't be allowed here, but I think it's clear within the township zoning that distribution is not permitted. There's not even a special exception for that in this district. So without more detail on what distribution is in terms of volume, truck size, things like that, I really have a lot of concern that this could change that area for myself and my neighbors. Beyond that, we do have the car dealership that offloads cars regularly, and to do that, they park a truck in the road and block a lane of road. So we're going to have trucks now trying to negotiate this already blocked passageway. You know, the road may be suitable to carry the load, but it's not suitable in size to handle the traffic, in my opinion. I think that's really the points that I wanted to express to the board that I have concern with. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Sir. Yeah, but let's do it again. We have another hearing going involved.
Yeah, Albert Conway, 1240 High Spire Road.
Yeah.
Yeah,
then
I
please
swear to tell the
the
truth.
whole truth and nothing but the truth.
As the gentleman just said, we approved the townhomes, 300 townhomes, right? 600 cars per day. On that, you average 2 cars per townhome. Not only the traffic that comes from Tyco Industry off of Thorn Mill Road when Eisenhower is backed up, there's a ton of traffic coming up that road. Then you add the campground traffic, the car traffic. There's a ton of traffic on that road. That road was rebuilt 5 years ago or something like that. And it's not, the substrate does not hold high volume, 60,000 pound trucks. We get that. And then there's the sewage problem, the road buffering. You got a gully down there with no guide rails. And you add in, you know, the church right beside it. On Sundays, all their traffic, the blind spot coming out of the church. There's a ton of different stuff that needs to be addressed. You know, there's all kinds of stuff. And then you got your EMS, your fire trucks, and all that. I mean, what's going to go on? More taxes for that? That's all I got.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Please introduce yourself and give us your name, please, and your address.
John Wilson, 1230 High Spire Road.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Very good. Proceed.
My one question here, first question, will be, the board said that notices were going to be mailed out to the residentials on that street. Who was in charge of the mailing? Was that the township or was that the...
Yes.
It was?
Yes.
I didn't receive the mailing. And I live at 1230 High Spire Road, never received the mailing. The only reason I found out about this meeting was from one of the neighbors on the street. That's one of the questions I wanted to ask. I also agree with the traffic. It's just, I know they said about there's a sign down at Lower Swatara Township and it says for anything over 40 feet. I do not know when we're talking truck traffic here at this building, are we talking like van, box truck? Are we talking complete tractor trailer? I mean, that's what I'm looking at here. I mean, if they're saying tractor trailer, I just don't see it. Also, at the bottom of coming off of Foley Mill Road onto High Spire Road, there is that sign there, but it says accept local deliveries. Not the trucks over 40 feet are not allowed to go up that road, but except for local deliveries. Well, right off the bat, you can say, well, I'm a local delivery. I got to deliver up here to this warehouse. So that just disregards that sign then off the bat. I do not see a sign. They're saying they're at both ends. I do not see the one on the Swatara Township side for that. Just to let you know for that. One other thing is the Triple Crown person, the gentleman here for Triple Crown, he's saying about they did a traffic right and he can't see a problem or anything like that. For traffic, he doesn't live on that road. His address isn't on that road. He doesn't live on that road. He doesn't have to put up with that traffic. The other thing is, they're saying about retail. There's been questions about the office and retail space. He mentioned Home Depot. You could say, oh, that's a warehouse too, delivery. No, I think Home Depot gets more than 3 people coming in at the retail store a day compared to what the other place was that's coming in there. So I just wondered about that. But main complaint is the traffic. If this goes through, the traffic is just going to be horrendous on that road. Speaking about that, the road itself at one time was a winter emergency road. There were signs on that road. Since then, those signs have been gone. So I don't know whether does that mean that road is not a winter emergency road anymore. And when you're saying about the traffic on there, I've complained to the local police, told them about the stuff. I've had the Central Dauphin school buses come flying up that road. A school bus, yeah. I mean, there's people, the speed limit is 25. There's signs on that road. But I'll tell you what, let me have a radar gun. I want to clock some of these people sometime so I can turn them into the police because they're not doing 25 miles an hour.
I understand. I'm going to stop you right there, sir. Look, we're not the forum for complaints about
I understand.
traffic and stuff. I would strongly suggest you speak with Tom Stauffer, superintendent. of the police department.
I understand. I've complained to the police, the Swatara Township police already. I'm just saying, with this idea of this warehouse part, it's just going to add more traffic. And I think, and our people, when they come out of there, these trucks that are supposed to be delivering things or dropping off stuff, are they going to be doing the 25-mile speed limit, which is posted? I mean, yes, I agree, that's what it's supposed to be, but nobody does it on that road anyway. So, just to let you know, that's my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Please approach, sir.
Just to the fact that they have to use Highland Street, Pikespear Road. The fact is that the reason why they got to use that is because they cannot cross over the pipeline that runs through that property, and nobody is given a right to cross over those pipelines. That's all.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir. Your name and address?
Willard Dorick, 1098 High Spire Road.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. I could be here all night.
Well, no, we don't want that. We have World Series game going on.
Yeah. I'd like to stick to one point first. I'm not a real estate person. I'm not on Wikipedia, but I would like to know how the term flex space becomes usage. Flex space to me means this warehouse has expandable walls. If you need 10,000 square feet, we'll wall it off for you. If you need 50,000 square feet, we'll wall it off for you. Where does the use of that space fall into the term flex space? Please, tell me.
That's an excellent question, but really no one here.
I think that's the whole crux of this.
Yeah.
That flex space has been defined as anything they wish it to be. It's not real. We all wish for a lot of things. You know, Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy. But, you know, I'm going back to just logistics. There's a blind rise there. Also logistics. There's a child's playground just downwind from 26 tractor trailer bays. Specifically, 45 or so feet out from there is the concrete pad for the landing gear of tractor trailers. Okay, the 26 spaces for tractor trailers means 26 tractor trailers. If you come in at 2 in the morning and you've got a load, you park on the appointed dock, you're going to be sitting there running at 20 degrees in the winter, irregardless of that 15-minute, I think, state limit that's in place. That's pretty much it. I mean, like I said, I could go on, but really, this man needs commended for doing his job. I don't know what happened to his predecessor. I'd like to have his predecessor here to answer that question. Seriously, where is he? Where's he gone? Did he retire?
He retired.
He retired. His age, roughly?
70.
Wow. Good man.
Yeah.
We should all be so lucky.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna. Someone please. Whoever's next.
Thank you for your thoughts. Appreciate
Thank you.
it. Mm-hmm.
And thank you. Doing your job.
Yes, sir.
I'm David Hawkins, 1070 High Spire Road.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
I'd just like to echo everything people have said about the traffic on the road. I'm not going to get into it anymore. And I just think it's important to get into the history of this building. Historically, before a tree was torn down, I was contacted. I'm not sure if it was you, Mr. DeSanto, someone representing your company, or someone else who was planning to build there, asking if I would object to a distribution center warehouse. I said I would. There were some zoning hearings set up before this plan was approved for variances as far as parking tractor trailers closer to High Spire Road. That got canceled because the plan was changed. And when I saw the plan that was ultimately submitted, I was kind of shocked because it looked to me like a very large warehousing building, but I assumed that since no zoning hearing was on the table at that point, that it was going to meet the commercial general requirements and there wouldn't be any variances needed. And then no entrance from Eisenhower was put on, so everything's dependent on our tiny road. And now suddenly we're here, it's like, oh, well, we always meant for it to be warehousing and distribution. It kind of seems like it was backdoored in when initial objections were brought up. It seems like that's what's happening now.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hi, and sir, your name?
My name is Frank Rubik, 1101 High Spire Road.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
I'm probably going to sound like a broken record because I agree with everybody who just came before me here. I mean, the main concern is the traffic on that road. It's horrendous right now as it is, and heavy truck traffic is not going to do any justice to it. I'm a truck driver, 35 years, tractor trailer service, and I know how it is when you get to these warehouses. Just like Mr. Dorick said, you know, you get somewhere and you're waiting for a dock and you're sitting out there idling if it's cold, or if it's hot, you're running your AC, you're sitting out there idling. I don't know how many trucks they're expecting at this place, but I agree with the last speaker who said that it seems like this has progressed into distribution, which it was never intended for. We, as a community, did not know that it was going to be distribution. We were under the guise that it was light warehousing and the such, you know, as the original plans called for. And now it seems like it evolved into what we have here. And I think the truck traffic, the noise from the distribution center are my biggest concerns, and I think probably concerns of everybody else involved with it here tonight. So I, for one, am not a fan of the new plan. That's all I have to say.
Appreciate your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I see no one else here. I think it's time for summary comments. Ms. Kelso?
I'll keep this brief because I think we went over a lot of information. And I think the information in those documents is really what the township wants to rely on. Over the course of a month, it took the applicant 3 times to try to decide how it wanted to portray the use and define the use it's now asking for. And then when it finally did it, it doesn't even match what the actual proposed tenant explained and what they described. Instead, the applicant wants to rely on an internal staff memo that was drafted a few years ago. They'd rather rely on that than their actual submissions that they submitted that all say office with accessory storage. one point in there is that at the end of the day, the applicant can only have a vested right in a lawful determination. The township doesn't believe that staff memo was a determination and does not believe that the zoning officer has the right to just approve whatever use he wants. He's stuck with what the zoning ordinance says. I mean, he certainly couldn't, I think we would all agree, decide, oh, okay, we're going to put an industrial use right here next to this house, right? At the end of the day, this is the same idea, just maybe not as absurd sounding, right? But it's the same idea here. If we accepted Mr. DeSanto's testimony, the applicant wouldn't be stuck and held to the specifications on the approved plans. And I'm not sure, quite frankly, where that would get anyone. I think the remarks from the residents are important, and that goes to that health and safety concern that up until now we just plain hadn't heard about. And I think the one gentleman kind of made my final argument for me. Using the word flex in an internal staff memo does not denote use. It does not give you the opportunity to define whatever use you want and pigeonhole it in that. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Shank?
All right. Thank you, members of the board. So again, we're asking for two things this evening. First, we're asking you to overturn the zoning officer's determination related to the use of this building. And in the alternative, we're asking you to find that based on a vested rights analysis, we're entitled to use the building for flex purposes. There's been a lot that have been made of the definition of flex space. We did include some materials in our packet. Exhibit 10 in the packet includes some materials relative to what is flex space. And I would submit to you this is a common real estate term that is used. I went on Google before this meeting and Googled flex space for lease in Harrisburg and got dozens of hits. This is a typical term that is used. When I put flex space meaning into Google and I just included in page or exhibit 10 of your packet exactly what came up on Google, far be it from me to rely on an AI overview for anything, but this is what Google spit out when I Googled what is flex space. It's a versatile commercial real estate property that combines different functions such as office, warehouse, and retail under one roof to meet a business's changing needs. And then I simply printed out the first article that came up under what is flex space. And that's the article that is the next several pages of your exhibit. It specifically defines it as a combination of office, industrial, and warehouse with hybrid configurations, diverse uses. If you turn to exhibit or sheet 3 of that printout, common uses for flex space include logistics and warehousing, startups, e-commerce operations, creative studios, light manufacturing. Flex space is a common term. I'm a little incredulous at the notion that the zoning officer's not familiar with it, and it means flexible space that can be used for a combination of office, warehouse, retail, again, with the changing needs of businesses, especially with the increase in e-commerce. The township is basically taking all of the plans and documents and picking the places out where it says office with accessory warehouse and relying solely on that to make a determination here without considering all of the factors at play. The land development plan, which they rely on so heavily, only contemplates 21,000 square feet of the building being used as office. It also states in other places that the use is flex space. General Note 1, the purpose of this plan is to depict the design of a 78,000 square foot flex space building. So to simply pick the places where the term office is used and rely completely on that, when the building itself in no way resembles an office, cannot be used, as Mr. DeSanto testified, as an office, I think strains credibility. In addition, with regard to the vested rights argument, I would submit to you that we have met all of the prongs of that test. Again, those prongs, just for the benefit of the board, are that the landowner exercised due diligence and good faith, expended substantial funds in reliance on approvals granted by the township, that appeal periods have expired, and that there's no adverse effect on public health, safety, and welfare. With regard to the landowner's good faith, again, I take offense to the notion that good faith was not exercised here. At every point in the process, we were forthcoming with the township. And of course, we appealed to the Board of Commissioners when we were told that this building could not be occupied by 2 existing township businesses. I can't imagine anyone would do anything differently. With regard to the public health, safety, and welfare, we heard a lot of considerations about traffic this evening. This is an approved land development plan. There was a traffic study that was done for this project. It was submitted to the township. It was reviewed by the traffic engineer. It contemplated a warehousing use in terms of the trip generation. All of the improvements were designed to support that. So really what we are doing now is relitigating things that were already decided as part of the land development plan process, which is not appropriate at this stage when we have a building that's fully constructed and ready for occupancy. So respectfully, we would ask for you to overturn the zoning officer's determination, or in the alternative, determine that we're entitled to a vested rights variance. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so testimony's been wrapped up in this in this hearing. As many of you are aware, the zoning hearing board is permitted by decision of the Pennsylvania Supreme Court to resolve itself into executive session for the purposes of engaging in some conversation among us regarding this particular application. We will stress that we will make a decision this evening. I'm not going to put a timetable on it. It might be 5 minutes, it might be an hour, I don't know. But it's one of those deals of as long as it takes. So I urge you to, stick around if you're interested in hearing the final word on this. And with that, we are resolved in executive session, and we'll be back. Thank you.
Structure fire.
was 2-1. It was 2-1.
All right, the zoning hearing board has concluded its deliberations in executive session. We are now back in the public domain, and we will proceed immediately to the matter in front of us. And there's really no need to belabor the point. We're going to go right now to a vote. The issue is whether pursuant to the vested rights doctrine, whether the zoning hearing board should approve the appeal of the zoning officer's determination under date of September 4th, 2025, as outlined further in the public notice to that end. And with that in mind, an aye vote being a vote in favor of granting the appeal. How do you vote, Ms. Taylor?
Aye.
Okay, and Mr. Malakovic?
Aye.
And I, Mr. Bear, the chairman, also vote aye, and the appeal is granted unanimously. Thank you. That's it. Your hearing's adjourned.